Okay, well, first of all, that screener, he was real nice to me, and, even tried to help me out a little bit. Yeah, I know he said, the doubt and the power of prayer, and, I do consider myself a Christian, but, I have a lot of issues. Like, one of them is, like, when people ask you to pray for them, I ask the same people, doesn't God already know what's going to happen in the future, so isn't prayer kind of pointless?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot of problems with prayer. There are a number of quotes in the Bible, such as Matthew 17:20. There's a whole handful of them that basically where Jesus is saying, pray for anything you want, and God will do it. We're praying in my name, and sometimes there's different caveats and things. One is you have to have the faith of a mustard seed, and another version of it is 2 or more people have to pray, or these sorts of things. And
you can move mountains if you believe.
Yeah.
But I mean, so what specifically? I mean, I understand I totally understand where you're coming from on this. Like what you just said, is there more to it?
Well, here's the thing. It's difficult for me because, I have a neighbor whose daughter is very sick, and she's only like, I think, 20, 30-something years old. And she came up to me at work one time, and, I work at a store, and she was just crying, telling me to please pray for her daughter, and, started hugging me. And I just, like, I'm in a tough situation, because she's asking for it, and I feel like I'm letting her down because I can't anymore.
Well, people pray to feel like they're doing something, and it's very, very frustrating having someone be very ill and die on you, and that's happened to me recently. And it's very, very difficult because you feel so powerless and so hopeless and helpless in the process. And I think that the function of prayer is to give you the sense that you're doing something when in reality you're not. You're sort of talking to yourself. And that's sort of a double-edged sword. I mean, it helps you feel better, perhaps, but at the same time, you're not really doing anything.
But I guess I'm trying to figure out. So is your issue more about how to assuage your feelings of guilt that you have to confront this woman in a certain way, but then behind the scenes, you're not really doing what she's asking you to do?
Well,
or is it
in general? I'm sorry.
I
guess in general, I'm just tired of I guess you could say I've been faking it for a little while.
The prayer or the theism?
Just like I go to Bible studies and they ask me to lead prayer, and they ask me to speak.
Okay, so you're being called on to life. Now, is your issue specifically with prayer and the role of prayer in your theism?
Oh no, there's a lot of questions I have. That's just a small part of it.
Okay. Because I know that when the church that I attended, the very last church I attended, actually rejected the notion of intercessory prayer as being heretical. So they viewed prayer as a self-reflective activity, that almost like meditation, and they thought, like you thought, that the idea that you would pray for God to alter a plan in some way for you was not in line with the idea that God, does what he does and we should accept it. And they felt more like in line with the idea of Jesus' prayer in Gethsemane, right, where he says, whatever you decide to do to me, I accept it. They felt like the prayer was more about you just working towards your own personal acceptance of whatever was unfolding as God's plan. So there are a lot of ways to view it. I don't know what the other issues are, and I'm still kind of curious. So is your call today specifically about how you cope with being called on to pray in these situations?
Or is it more that you're just losing faith and you feel like
I just have so many questions, and that's just one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to Bible studies occasionally, like at family members' houses. And one time, I kind of feel bad because I did fake it a little bit. I said, I prayed and, said certain things, and people would say to me afterwards, like, oh, you were so filled with the Holy Spirit. And I'd be like, I was? Because I didn't feel it.
Yeah. So you might benefit from stepping away from the participation in these activities for a little while, at least, to sort of reset your expectations and maybe reach out to other communities that may be more skeptical or more liberal and less like a UU church or something like that, less focused on the God aspect of it. That might allow you to get some perspective on your situation that you might have trouble getting otherwise if you're always sort of doing that day to day. So that would be my suggestion.
Well, I'd like to ask, what's your denomination?
Well, okay, I was raised as a Catholic, and
Okay.
And then moving to the South, there's not many of those, so I kind of went along with what friends are doing. Most of them are Baptist, and I just said, okay, well, I'll just be non-denominational, but then, doing some research, I'm like, I don't even know what to call myself. I guess the closest thing would be Baptist.
When you go to church, what's on the sign?
You know what? I'll be honest, I don't even remember.
Okay.
Okay. So you get a benefit from the community pretty clearly. And so kind of what I'm suggesting is
kind to me.
Find a different community, and I think even if it's a community for a hobby or something like that, I think that it's good to be around people. It's good to have support and be have friends, these sorts of things. But I don't know if staying immersed in this culture is going to help you, and it may be that if you tip your hand and let folks know that you're not believing anymore, that you'll sort of be the focus of a lot of folks on a mission to save you, and that's a kind of uncomfortable position to be in.
Yeah,
I told a few close friends.
At first, I was kind of concerned, like when Don was saying to go and find community elsewhere. I know that, like with the church that I attended, if I would have stopped going or gone somewhere else, there would have been a lot of attention on that. Huh? So I wasn't sure what your situation was, but I agree with Don. I think that your particular situation, like you said, basically, I was raised Catholic, but I went down the South, and then I just went with whatever they were doing, and I don't even know what's on the sign at church. So it sounds like you're not super tied to the group. I mean, you may have friends in there, but it doesn't sound like this is your life. So I would say that he's correct. There are other churches, like there's a Universal Unitarian church that you can look into, which is more of an it's like all faith and no faith. Like you don't have to believe in a God, but you can believe in just about anything and just go to that group. And it's just a community group. And most of what they would call like a sermon, I guess, is more like a lecture. So you go in and they do a lot of community service, they do a lot of charity work, and mainly it's just a group of people getting together. Somebody gets up there that looks kind of like a pastor and gives a talk on, good citizenship, and then you go and work in the soup kitchen that afternoon. I mean, that's what they do. So if you're into that sort of churchy, situation, but you're disturbed by the lack of faith or the idea that you don't have the same type of beliefs, they don't care what you believe. They just want you to be a good person, and they are pretty much accepting of everybody.
Yeah, and let me add to that. If you're brave, you can go seek out an atheist group. But barring that, you can explore some of the skeptics groups out there.
Yeah. If they're active. I mean, if they're not that active, it's probably not going to feed your need. But if you do have an active, skeptical group, and you're comfortable with that, with the idea of an atheist group or even a humanist group or, skeptics group or anything like that, if they have stuff going on and it's sufficiently enough material for you to feel like you're getting that need met, I think that's a good idea as well.
And there's a Recovering from Religion has a 1-800 number that you can call. So there are.
I've done that. Yes.
Okay.
I'm still trying to get things. I don't want to, make any assertions right now. I want to try to do the best research I can, be open-minded.
I think the UU suggestion is really. I mean, it sounds like it might be a good fit for you if you can find one in your area.
Right. This you're in. From what I see. You're in a kind of a process that is going to take you somewhere, and for many folks who are atheists, that process has taken sometimes 7-10 years of exploration and understanding and reading and talking about this thing, and mulling things over and thinking through things, and it's just not a quick thing. And there are a lot of people that have been through something similar to what you're going through. and finding a community of folks that are sort of in are maybe fresh with that experience is probably what you need.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, good luck to you,
Yeah.
Paul.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time you guys took to talk to me, and
Sure.
I'll call again.
Yeah,
And feel
please call back.
free to go reach out at the blog too. Like if you want to get other viewer input or something like that, or see what other people have to say. Maybe other people have better suggestions. So feel free to post yourself there as well if you want to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.